We decided to do a little video up of what actually happens with the West Coast Vintage Racing Club. This is an assortment of people from all over the Pacific Northwest, and actually some of the folks are as far south as Arizona. I wanted to capture the family life, the camaraderie, the teamwork, and also that it's not all easy. There's a lot involved with sponsorships that make us able to do this. We have to have a dedicated crew, engine builders. The things that happen with these cars is unforeseen. They're extremely fast.
I'm driving a mid-80s Nance dirt car that we've converted to pavement. It has a naturally aspirated 360 cubic inch small block with aluminum heads and 850 Holley carburetor on methanol. Fun class to run with. There's over 21 competitors in the pits right now. We're just about ready to go qualifying. Qualifying will go out individual cars one at a time. They'll push you off to start your car because they're push start only. They'll start you off, you'll come around, you get a lap to basically scuff your tires and get up to speed. You'll take the green, the white, and the checkered. You take your fastest lap out of them 2 laps. The big goal here is trying to be the fastest guy. There's a lot of competition. We're going to shoot for that #1 spot, but we don't know. We'll give her all we got. So there's some heavy hitters here today.
Mine's a mid-80s. The one Dad's in is probably about mid-80s as well. You know, they're all built in that era, and you know, they've been in people's garages for years, and they've been digging them out the last 2 or 3 years for this series, getting them all running again. So they're all classic cars, but very, very fast cars.
Majority of the clubs are pre-1980, but these are the cars that were the fastest cars in the day. They used to run wings, but we also have all sorts of cars in the club. We have roadsters, upright sprinters, we've got offset modifieds, we've got open super modifieds. We all race together with a common goal to have fun and put the cars in the trailer in one piece. That doesn't always happen because this is a fast group with a lot of history, as you'll see in the movie. Some of the Camera champions that race with us. Camera was Canadian American Racing Association, and this was the fastest of the fast that competed Americans against Canadians.
Camera is a series that a lot of these guys came from. Guys like Tom Sneva, Jerry Sneva, Art Pollard, Jim Malloy. They've all been Indianapolis champions, and they all started in the same series that we used to race in. And this is just basically a continuation of that series. It ended in 1984. The guys have got well established in life, and they decided they wanted to go and have some excitement, so they went back to racing the cars that we used to race in the 1970s and 1980s. Now it's old guys racing old cars.
There's 43 cars in the club, so you gotta imagine how great this club is.
You know, our club has been around for a number of years. It's really mushroomed over the years from, 8 cars running for free to ballooned into, I believe we have 40 now. This weekend we showed up with 21. We've had a couple of breaks. We're down to 19 this weekend, but we are definitely have moved beyond the vintage club into a full racing series with a vintage name.
The car that I have is a 1974 Maxwell sprint car, converted to a super modified. It's powered by a 350 Chevrolet burning methanol. It's a cool little ride. It's a lot of fun. I'm 84 years old and I'm still having fun.
Ralphie came down the very first time I raced a car. I'd never been in one. He came down to Redding, California just to coach me. Ralph still kicks my butt. I fight back and forth with him, but he's a hell of a good racer. Dick Nelson. We got Marty White, Camera champion. We've got Bob Wills, Johnny White. The list is so long.
Pitted for my dad, who raced it with the Camera series back in the 70s and won the championship. Good friends, Bill Lawrence. So many guys here that I used to, and still look up to, and we're racing with them again now. So it's pretty cool to be involved with this class.
My dad's helping me in the pits this weekend, and My mom and my girlfriend are down to watching, and Jim and Marty, they're like family to me too. So I mean, it's just a family event for me. Yeah.
And we've got folks that still come around the track. I'm blessed to have Jerry Day help us with everything. He's history in the making.
I know a lot of the old guys from racing. I grew up around these things. I started racing in 1960 and got into sprint cars in '63. And a lot of these guys I raced with, Ralph Menino, I ran the camera circuit and the sprint car circuit. I always built my own cars, and I built them for sale too. I don't know how many I built, maybe 60 or something like that. When I started vintage racing, I hadn't done nothing for a few years. I quit in '85. 1985, I'd had enough because I couldn't afford an engine, and the guys were just buying Donovan engines, $20,000, $25,000. I'm still built my homemade stuff. I'm still running good, but I'm not winning. And I finally found enough parts to build a bigger engine, all used stuff. And at the Dirt Cup 1985, I broke the crankshaft, and I just called it quits. It's competitive. I wanted to be able to win. I couldn't afford to win, so I thought I'd just go build cars.
I just look up to them. You know, those guys were there before I was ever involved in the sport. I've heard these names, and it's nice to meet the characters because, you know, you hear the history and the stories about them, and then when you finally meet them, it's pretty special.
Basically, a lot of them I've just met for the first time. Jerry, Ray Carter, RJ, Jimmy White. I mean, the list goes on. Most of these people I've met for the first time. They have no idea who I am, where I came from, what I know how to do. I'd like to think that over as time's gone by, I've probably earned their respect, and they've treated me very well and given me some fabulous pointers and helped me time and time again. You put them all together, you got 100 and something years of experience backing you up, and then I try and figure out that input to put to the car to get it to help it go around the track.
The cool thing about this class is everybody helps everybody. You know, we always want to get somebody breaks down. We all work hard to get them going. You know, we have a lot of family members here. My dad races, my cousin races, my uncle races here. Good friends, like I said, guys that I looked up to when I was a kid and racing against them. And, you know, we all have get-togethers and stuff, and it's a lot of fun.
And here we are today to have the White family take on the Siebert family. So a little bit of a deal going there, and we're gonna have some fun with that.
And you know, I think the series was put together to come out and have a little bit of fun, and we're actually having a ton of fun. But usually it's implied that, you know, fun is about going slow and just kind of driving around so people can see the cars. This thing has turned into an absolute full-blown racing series, and everybody's running very hard. You know, Riley won the last 2 nights. Very proud of him to see that. So keeping the Siebert name up there for us.
In the vintage class, it's run what you brung, but we're all fighting the same thing, lack of traction. We don't have the wing for downforce, we don't have enough tire for the horsepower available, so it comes down to driver and setup. And so, it really, at the end of the day, we're out there to put on a show. We're there for the fans. It's not competition, we got to beat the other guys. You know, it's not bucks up racing. It's out there, have fun, put on a good show, get together for a barbecue after the races, and just have a good time.
Myself personally, I began the season in January in Lake Havasu, Arizona. Then I traveled home, and then I went back down and raced at Tucson at the big speedway. That was fantastic. We just couldn't really get a grip on the handling, and that's where having a crew chief that knows the car and works with it intimately makes all the difference. And trying to do it by myself, I couldn't get the car to handle. I loaded it up safely in one piece and hauled that home. I certainly had my fair share of challenges. We traveled extensively. A lot of the time I was by myself, but everybody in the club made sure that they helped me the best they could. But we did get some great racing in, and one thing about this, if your car breaks, you just jump in and help another team and have nothing but fun with everybody. It's just a good group of guys, and they're all very talented, and they're more than willing to share their knowledge with someone like me that does not have a lot of racing background.
They're not really experienced racers, just trying to establish an idea of what's actually wrong with their race car and why it won't go fast. And that can be due to the motor not running properly, the injection, or it can be tires, shocks, springs, the balance of the car, where the weight is applied to each corner of the car. It makes it go through the corner properly without getting out of control.
Wednesday night is our race night. Typically, we get an assortment of folks over. We always have Dave Swan, the crew chief, here. He's making sure everything's right. He's putting together, taking it apart. I don't know what I would do without Dave. We get Rick Bitts Boats comes over, and Guy Brenner. We've got the usual guys who come, we hang out, we do some work. If it's important work, we get that all done, and then of course there's a few Budweisers to just make it men's night.
Beginning of the year was basically just trying to figure out the setup of the car, and then going from track to track, which setups were going to work, how much stagger you're going to put in the car and how much wedge. Other trials where we're trying to get the gearing correct so you could get the RPM and get the power of the motor where you needed it. Others were just the simple breakdowns that plagued the car, whether it was the fuel system would plug up. We had power steering problems, which then turned into power steering box problems. I've basically been on my hands and knees at the track more than I've been on my hands and knees in the shop, because you fix everything in the shop, go right on. We've covered all the gremlins. You get to the track and hell, 3 more gremlins pop up.
With the horsepower, we were having problems. We were tearing clutches out of it. So we decided to go back to just a straight sprint car setup. And that we didn't quite get a few of the measurements right, which caused us some more problems.
Before my time, I guess apparently there was always problems with the clutch system, the dual disc clutch system in the car. But basically, with Jeff trying to stay vintage, the clutch system was part of the car's history. So with changing out the clutch system after we broke it for the last time, that brought on a balancing problem that we didn't realize we had, because most cars, the motor is balanced with the flywheel of the flex plate for the ring gear. And this particular thing, they put the balancing into the pressure plate of the clutch system. So we didn't even notice that the balancing was gone. So we got to drive 10 hours to Wenatchee to find out we put the car together wrong by accident.
We trailered the car down behind the motorhome to the Wenatchee Super Oval here a couple of weeks ago to run, and that was after we had just done the big conversion. Unfortunately, with not having it started, we didn't fire the car up. So we unloaded, and we were all feeling pretty cocky and pretty confident everything was going to be fantastic. Came time for testing, pushed the car out on the track, and got her fired up. Boy, oh boy, did she shake. Ooh. So we came in and had a look through everything, and everybody had all different kinds of theory that it was the drive line, it was this, it was that. So after we checked everything over and made sure it was tight, we went out and did a couple more laps, and she was shaking real bad. We didn't want to hurt the equipment and brought it back in to the pits. Everybody had all these suggestions. I pretty much had my mind set what it was, and I said, hell with it. Let's just park the car, enjoy the races, and there's some great racing, and let's make a movie.
And it needed a little bit of extra weight because it was a counterbalance 383 stroker.
So we were able to find a piece out of Ohio, had it air freighted in, and we sent that over to Bitts Boats. The old piece that came off had 320 grams offset balance put into the clutch. And so the new piece we got in, we double checked it, and it has 316 grams. So 4 grams difference, but we feel very confident that's going to eliminate our problems. So now we've gotten rid of the clutch, we've got direct drive, but one of the situations because of that is we no longer have a starter. So we're taking the car out to push start it in an area where there's no cars or very little people.
Sounds good.
Zero vibration.
Is that right?
So she's race ready. We will leave the car in the trailer and it will be ready for us to go to Prince George Monday for practice Tuesday, race Wednesday. Then we got a Thursday travel day down to Quesnel and get set up. And we race Friday night in Quesnel and Saturday night in Williams Lake. Those two races are part of the Doug Larson Memorial Race, which is a yearly event.
They put this race on a year or so ago here for the Doug Larson Memorial, and he is my father, so I kind of wanted to be involved in it, and we didn't get our stuff ready to go, and I ended up having to find a ride for this weekend. So here we are down here. We're going to run it tonight, and hopefully we'll come home. And that trophy that we were trying to give me earlier, I'm going to try and take that with me.
And one of the things you'll find out about the club is the generations of racers, the families, what it all means to everybody.
I got all my kids and all that involved. So. Well, they've been involved with me for a long time. They always come racing with us and they help me out in the shop and all that. So I bring them with me racing nowadays. We got, you know, the way all these guys run around here, they all got their families. It's one big family, so we all try and work together to have fun doing this series. Most of us know each other from years past, like when my father raced. Most of the guys that are here, there's quite a few of them that raced with him when they raced, and now like the Sieberts coming up, me and Trevor and Riley and all that, we ran the Canadian NASCAR series together, you know, years past. Now we're running here doing this together, so it's a lot of fun doing it.
I was born here, my son Riley was born here, you know, Dad's lived here most of his life, so 3 generations of Williams Lake drivers, and we're here with the West Coast Vintage Racers, and I've been racing the series now for 2 years. Riley started racing with them this year, and Dad came back out of a bit of retirement to run with them as well. So it's pretty exciting to have 3 generations here. Yeah, it's been great. Cars are excellent. They're a very, very cool car to drive, and it's a lot of nostalgia coming out here.
So it's really special to be able to race the 3 generations and stuff like that. We've always supported each other throughout the years and stuff like that. I raced lots with Dad, and when I first started racing, Carl had a street stock. I was racing with him. My grandfather at 80 years old, first time driving a sprint car, so you know what the heck. And talking to somebody the other day on the phone, he said, you know, it's pretty special that all 3 of you guys are even just at the track together, and to be on the track together is just like another notch up. It's incredible.
Well, it's tremendous. The reason I'm doing this is because it's always been one item on my bucket list. My bucket is almost full, but to race with these 2 characters is it's something that I always wanted to do, and I've made up my mind that between the 3 of us, we'll be able to run the field, right? One will come first, one will come in the middle, and I'll come last. We're having just a whole lot of fun, the 3 of us. It's all a lot of kibitzing and pretty close relationship.
And here we are today to have the White family take on the Siebert family. We're going to have some fun with that. And the Larson family, of course.
Racing a Super Duper Modified, 1980 Belle Fury. Originally started out as a Pink Lady in Boise, Idaho in the early 80s.
I'm running the number 14 car for my Uncle Johnny here. It's offset Super Modified. This will be my 4th time in any oval race ever. So I'm enjoying every little bit of it. I come from a road race background, so it's kind of a different world. But it's a much more intense type of visceral type of racing, especially with 650 plus horsepower. It's like, whoa, you just hold on and kind of go for it. So kind of every time I do it, I'm getting a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. So having a lot of fun.
This is what we call the Wild West. This place is the best of the Wild West. We went to Prince George, and it was really wild up there. The weather was wild. There was wind and dust and rain and mud, and it was wild. So we got through that. And then last night we went to Quesnel, and the weather came in again on us, and we managed to get the main event in. We got that done first before waiting around, and we would have got rained out. Had we waited, we would have got rained out for sure.
Hauled that car down to Williams Lake, unloaded it, and we had a good car. A lot of people came to see us, and we had a good car. We had a lot of fun. We did real respectable and got the bug right back in my system. The depression of working on race cars is not always the funnest thing to me. We hauled home from there. We were all excited. We got the car all set up, all new tires. We were going to do our hometown race, 2-night race. We took the car out and we were practicing on Thursday. The car is the best it's ever been. We were real excited about it. It came time to qualify, took the car out, and the engine let go. The oil pump pickup tube had snapped off due to the vibration of running that car when it didn't have the proper balancer on, is all we can figure out.
So it did a little bit of damage. It did a little bit of vibration. He shut off fairly soon, but he did make a couple laps around the track, and it did cause a bit of vibration damage.
The big thing is that we want to race competitively, but safety is key with our club, and we've upgraded our safety standards across the line. We have a race director, Bill Birdsell, that does inspections on all the cars. You're not allowed to race if your car is not 100% safe. We have our safety meetings every single race. We remind everybody of what the cautions we need to take, what driving attitudes we have to have.
It's dangerous. You got to keep your foot hooked to your head as much as you do in a street car. And you got to know when to let off and when you can cut loose. So you can get in trouble in a hurry. And if you take a look in the back of our hauler, you'll see one that got into the wall in Prince George, and one hit, it was done, total. So you got to be careful. And you'll see some wheel-to-wheel racing, but you'll see some smart guys out there too.
We hung from the fence in Boise in the wing car there last year. So yeah, we wrote 3 of them off there.
You better accept that you can get hurt. It is motorsport. But motorsport's come a long ways from 30 years ago or whatever.
That's a key thing. People like myself, I also have an automated fire system put into my car because we burn methanol, and you cannot see methanol when it's on fire, and it burns really hot. But it also gives you lots of horsepower. And ironically, it's what cools your engine more so than gasoline. You can get really hurt in these cars, and I mean really hurt, and a lot of people have.
They pushed me off, and 3 days later, I woke up in the Kootenai Medical Center in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And so what happened in between then and then is I don't have a clue, other than what I've been told.
That's the nice thing about having guys that have been experienced this old. You know, they've been around this long, they've had their issues, they've seen things that we don't talk about, and they know how important it is to be safe, and they race clean.
You know, we run for no purse, we run for no trophies, we run for no points. We have no point season champion. It's all about respecting each other and putting the cars back in the trailer the way they came out.
I'm on the board, and we're always trying to make things safer. We got tyres that slow us down a bit. We're not running with wings on. Wings would make these things 2 seconds a lap quicker.
We have full containment seats and all the safety gear. It's all got to be current. The helmet's got to be all Snell approved, and yeah, we're big on safety. We haven't had anybody hurt, and we don't want anybody hurt.
Respect each other out there, because the guy at the front and the guy at the back are getting the same paycheck. We have the odd accident, but I haven't seen anybody be disrespectful to other drivers, and I think the crowd's loving it. You know, they're loving the cars.
We're all out here to have a little fun, not to and to load them all on the trailers after we're all done. And the main thing is we want to put on a great show for the fans.
They love to see the series. People remember the cars from back in the day, so you get lots of interest, lots of fans around.
The racetracks we go to are very professionally run. The push trucks, the organization, we all have ear sets that we're in communication. We can't talk, we can only listen. We run always as a backup show to the top series that is running, whether it's super modifieds or wing sprint cars. It's timing, everything runs like a clock.
Wenatchee Speedway is a great track. I mean, it's one of the nicest facilities we run on, you know. There's a few others that are equal, but Wenatchee is a great place to come.
This track is beautiful. This is our premier track that we usually run. It's owned by Garrett Evans and his staff. It's always clean, it's well taken care of. electricity, camping facilities, which is what a lot of us like to do. You couldn't ask for a nicer place to race and a nicer guy to race for.
Beautiful track. We always love coming to Wenatchee. Garrett Evans, always treats us well here. The track here is a beautiful facility. The track itself, banking, you can really lean into it with the car and run a couple different lines. For ourselves, we're happy. Our offset car is running really well. I think we've had some pretty good times, and even our wing car, I think we're in the top 3 with our wing car too. So yeah, I couldn't really be any happier than that.
I love it, especially down here, like the American, they look after us. The tracks are unbelievable and they really welcome you.
This track's predominantly good. The only time this track is real slick is if you get a windstorm in here and it blows a lot of dirt on it. This track's got more bite than pretty much anywhere we race.
Oh my gosh, it is gorgeous. It's supposed to be in the low 80s today, which is a lot better. Last year was 95. So it's just perfect. There's a little bit of a breeze going. The track should be sticky and we should get some good racing in.
All the tracks rely on volunteers, and there's a lot of race fan volunteers that really do a great job and especially for us in the West Coast Vintage Racers Association. I personally make sure I go thank every one of them that I can see and give a handshake.
I don't think any of the tracks would even exist without the volunteers. I used to be a rev volunteer for race events for Vancouver, and we did all the Molson Indy. You get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go to the track, rain or shine. Do what you got to do. It could be anything from sweeping the pits to painting something to who knows.
And it's kudos to them. They've done an amazing job.
The women in this club are an integral part of it. They really, really step up. You've got wives helping husbands strap in, keeping scores. They're keeping everybody on their toes as to what's going on. They also do a big potluck dinner, and everybody gets together, and every evening it's just a real social event after the racing.
It used to be years ago, women weren't allowed in the pits. If you go back years ago, they weren't allowed. Yeah, now there's ones that race. I've raced against lots of women over the years. Some women I know more about race cars than most of the guys.
We're making sure that our drivers are taken care of, that we're interpreting their needs. At the end, we have an amazing potluck that we all get together. The women are back there, they're cooking, they're preparing. They're making sure that the drivers are getting all they need for nutrition, and that ability to kind of come back and chill out and relax and not have to worry about anything. And the women are the ones that connect those pieces together. Some of us are pushing out cars, some of us are preparing food.
Susan comes along, she takes down all the information from the changes we make on the suspension to the air pressures in the tires to the stagger adjustments we make, the wedge adjustments, whether the fuel injection plugs up. That's why we've lost RPM. We make all those notes in the book so that we actually have some running history of the car to go back on. Well, plus two, she also makes all the snacks and helps unload and load the trailer and everything else that comes along with it. Nobody really has a set job. Everybody pitches in, helps out, and does what they can, whether it be going shopping or pushing the car in the trailer.
My wife, she comes to every race with me. She likes to push me around on the quad, around the pits, and she absolutely loves it.
What I like to say is everybody goes camping and a race breaks out. There's a lot involved with sponsorships that make us able to do this. We have to have a dedicated crew.
My car owner is Mel Ayers, really great guy. I heard that he was looking for a driver and contacted him. Mel put me behind the wheel, and it's been a great relationship with him. Rody Hayes is my crew guy. Him and Mel are good friends, and out of all the years I've raced, this has been a really good experience. Yeah, I've never seen three guys gel so well in a pit area, so it's been awesome.
Sponsored by LJ Oil Company out of Spokane, Valley Machine Incorporated, Kirk Rogers out of Spokane, also Jack Morris Jr. with Wandermere Realty out of Spokane, and carries auto body based out of Colville, Washington.
Met Jeff 4 years ago. That's our first meeting. My past life was involved in motor racing. I grew up in the middle of a racetrack in the UK, a circuit in Croft. That touches a nerve with me, the racing, the company, and Jeff, I know he just talks about our product every day. He wakes up thinking about our product. I know that for a fact. Jeff's been selling our product for over 17 years. And if you cut Jeff in half, it'd probably say Cosentino through the middle of it.
And it won't stain.
Well, I'm a general manager for Cosentino here in British Columbia. First week here, I met Jeff, and he started teaching me this job, and that's the way I was successful here. I was in Kelowna, and I received an email from, I think, Anthony, Jeff's partner. They were talking about this opportunity of having Jeff Kennedy supported with his racing car and the races, and I didn't think it twice. I thought it was a great idea because he has been my mentor, as I said before, right? So I wanted to give back him what he has brought to us. And I think it's a great opportunity for us to partner with Jeff and in the races, and we are getting so much business out of it. It's just a no-brainer to us every year.
He's a great social media guy. Awesome.
Is that right?
Loves it.
Yeah, he's always
Well,
on there.
he's a salesman.
To give him a little money towards that sponsorship, I know how many man hours Jeff puts in and his team puts in. People see cars going around the track and they don't realize what really goes on behind the scenes because there's so many hours. I know Jeff, if he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all this year. I mean, every race has had an issue, and that costs him money, that costs him time, and that little bit of sponsorship from us really helps go towards him living his dream, enjoying his weekends, and racing that car.
What I think the future is going to be is Jeff is going to get better at what he does, right? He has been in a year where he has not been that lucky, but he proved himself before, right? In the first year, he hit some amazing goals, right? And that's what we expect, that he's going to get better at it, right? And we are going to be more proud of it, and we're going to utilize our sponsorship, right? He's going to be showcasing our media, and we're going to make this sponsorship a high return for both of us, right? And for his company, for our company, and for our relationship.
I've known Jeff for decades, from working on motorcycles or even going to functions and events. He's a great guy to hang out with. We've had nothing but fun, and at the end of the day, if things aren't working out, don't worry about it. It ain't worth it.
He has a personality that's kind of fun-loving and really kind of a community builder. He really likes to get out there, and you know, even if you're having a rough day, I've seen him walk up and say, you know what, it's a great day, we're having fun, we're out here. It's not about winning, it's about really coming out, putting on a great race and a great performance for the fans, and really Jeff Kennedy's all about the fans.
Oh, he doesn't give up, and he's a go-getter, and he's always got some plan. He's just like his father. He's like a carbon copy where he's always got something on the go. You know, wheeler, dealer, entrepreneur, but he always helps people. He's always there, and he likes the team. He's a team guy. It's not just him. It's everybody that's helping him out.
Jeff Kennedy?
We
Well, how much time have we got? Actually, Jeff Kennedy rocks. He really does. He's just a class guy, salt of the earth.
When you meet Jeff, you can tell, right, that he's a straight shooter, right? And whatever he says is whatever he does. He's very good at what he does because he has passion on what he does, right? And that passion goes to selling Silestone, to racing cars, to driving that boat like no problem, or having fun, right? So I agree with that.
It's exciting. You know, it's the way we give back to our key people, is to support them in their interests outside of work. Jeff does a fantastic job for Valley, and he does a fantastic job racing his race car too.
Hello racers and racing fans. My name is Karen Hall. I'm a mortgage broker with Dominion Lending, Dynamic Mortgages, and a proud sponsor of Jeff Kennedy Racing. I'd like to extend my services to you for all of your financing needs. Remember, mention Jeff Kennedy Racing and you'll receive an additional discount off your race.